Okay guys, if you followed my first video, you've got this nice blank canvas, this nice little setup to start working on. First of all, we're in the top view. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit 3 on the number pad. I'm going to change to the right view. So this should be looking at the right side of the aircraft, and we're going to do a simple foamy just so I can show you some of the concepts. First, we're going to hit the space bar. We're going to add a cube. Alright, so there's our nice little cube. You can hit G to grab the cube and move it around. You can hit S to scale it. You can hit R to rotate it. If you rotate it to a certain point and you realize that you made a mistake, or if you scale it or move it, while you're still in that move mode, just right click and it'll reset. And obviously you can hit Control Z to undo, and you have various levels of undo. One thing I'd like to explain: if you left click anywhere on the screen, you'll place your 3D cursor. Your 3D cursor is going to be the default place for any new object to show up, but it really has no effect on the object that's already on the screen. Also, something that I would like to point out is that there's a little pink dot in the middle. I'm going to hold shift and then I'm going to middle click and drag around, and you can see that little pink dot is in the middle of the cube. That's the center of the object, and you can change that around a little bit later on. I'll show you guys how to change that around, but basically you can center it on the cursor, which would make this pink dot jump from here to here, and that would be this button. You can center the object around the data, or you can center the object around the center point, or you can move the center point to be, in the middle of the object. So we'll probably play with that a little bit later on, but for right now we're going to hit Tab to enter edit mode. Now you can see you've got 4 points. There's really 8 points. Alright, 8 points, but from this angle it's not too bad. Alright, we're going to hit A to deselect, and then we're going to hit B, and this brings up our box selector tool. We're going to click and drag. So we've selected these 2 points. We're going to grab these points, and I'm also going to hit Y after I hit the G key. That's going to constrain the movement in the Y axis, and we're going to drag it out to about here. And we're going to hit A to deselect those. Now we're going to use another selector tool to grab these back 4 points. We're going to hold the Control key and we're going to draw a loop. Okay, sorry about that, a little phone call. I'm going to hit A again to deselect so I can show you this again. Hit Control or hold Control and then just draw a loop around the vertices you want to select. We're going to hit G, and again we're going to hit Y and move it out. Okay, right now we're kind of working on a little fuselage shape, and you can see it's a little bit thick for a fuselage, for a foamy fuselage. So we're going to tab back into object mode. We're going to bring up N. These are our transform properties. We can use these to do different transformations on the object. Right now you can see that in the you can see in the X dimension, which is from here to here. It seems a little wacky there. Yeah, oh well, that's open source for you. Basically, I think we want to mess around with the Z dimension rather than the Y dimension. So let's on here, let's change this to, let's say, 0.5. Alright, there we go. There's a thinner, more foamy style fuselage. That is so weird. Blender really pisses me off sometimes. I think the reason that's happening is because it's using a different set of points. Let's see if I can turn on the axes. Oh well, we're not going to worry about that for now. Yeah, we'll just press on and pretend that open source is crap, that some things don't work the way they're supposed to, or that I don't understand things quite so much as I think I do. Alright, we're going to tab back into edit mode, and we're going to perform a loop cut. We're going to do, you got to have a little place there for a cockpit. So we're going to hit Control E, and we're going to loop cut. Now the loop cut tool is going to create a new set of vertices. If you kind of hold the mouse over here, you can create the vertices on this axis. If you hold the mouse up here, you can create the vertices on this axis. So click one time, and then you can kind of slide it down wherever you want. I think this would be a good place for a start of a cockpit. We're going to add a few more loop cuts. Alright, that'll give us a good little cockpit area. A to deselect. Now we're going to hit B twice, and this brings up a little circle selector tool. And you can use the mouse wheel to make it smaller or bigger. We're going to select these vertices, right click one time, and we're going to G and then Z, A, B, B, right click, G, Z, A to deselect, B, B, select, right click, G, Z. There we go. There's a nice little, kind of a little cockpit bubble there. Let's see, A, B. Just going to do a little bit of kind of some modeling here. A, B, B. Right click, G, Z. Kind of bring it in some. At the back, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to hit A. We're going to use the scale manipulator right now. So we're going to hit, we're going to hold Control and draw a loop around those. Now we're going to scale it, but we don't want to make it any thinner. We just want to make it shorter. So what we're going to do is we're going to scale on the Z axis. Alright, there we go. There is a simple fuselage. Alright, and probably the last step here is to name it. So I'm going to hit N again to bring up these transform properties, and right here the object name, I'm going to name it fuselage, and this is the object that everything else is going to be parented to. Alright, let's go into our top view, tab back into object mode. Now we want to make sure we hit A so that we don't have this selected, and we want to make a wing. So let's click over here, add mesh cube. Alright, we're going to scale this. Alright, we're going to scale it in the Y axis. Make a nice little wing. We'll use G to kind of move it over here a little bit. Let's look at it from the front. Oh, that wing has a it's a very thick wing. So let's hit S and Z, and let's make our wing nice and thin. G, kind of move it around a little bit. Let's see how that's looking. Oh yeah, that's money right there. Let's go to the top view, and we're going to tab into edit mode. A to deselect. We're going to loop select these. Again, by holding the Control key, we're going to grab these. We're going to constrain it to the Y axis, and we're going to move it back. Now notice that when you're in edit mode, when you move the object, you're moving the data of the object, but you're not moving the center point. So this object's center point will still be here. So once we've made our wing, let's go back into object mode, and I'm pretty happy with that. But now we want to bring this point back to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, for some reason my tooltips aren't working, but I'm going to click on this little icon here, and I am going to center new, and that just moves the object center back to here. Alright, So we're pretty happy with that. Now let's duplicate this object. Let's name it first. CS underscore RMW. Alright, good. Now we are going to use Control Shift D to duplicate this wing. Alright, and then we are going to hit S and Y. Let's not do that. Let's just hit S. There we go. And let's scale it down nice and neat. Right. Let's grab it and move it over here. Nice little position for an aileron. Hold shift and middle click. Alright, now we've got a nice little aileron going on there. Now notice that let's do something here. Let's select this fuselage, let's hit M, and let's move it to layer 2, just to kind of get rid of it. Let's hit 3 to go into the side view. Now notice that when we scaled, it actually scaled it in all the dimensions. Let's right click on this and bring up the transform properties, and what we're looking for is 2.94. Let's make it 0.1. Nice thin wing. Now let's right click on the aileron and 0.1. Nice thin aileron. Close that out. Let's go into the top view. Kind of zoom way in here. Let's grab it and let's tuck it up there all nice. That should be good. Oh, when you're zoomed way in, if you hit the home key, it'll kind of zoom you out a little bit so you can see everything a little bit better. Alright, let's bring up N. Alright, RMW. Let's change that to RMA for aileron. Alright, now, oops, let's go here. Let's take our fuselage and let's move it back to here. Okay. And go back to that layer. We get rid of that. Let's do some parenting. Let's take this aileron, and we're going to select the aileron with the right click. Then we're going to hold shift and select the wing, and we're going to hit Control P and make it a parent. Now this aileron is parented to this wing, so if you grab the wing and move it around, the aileron moves with it. And again, if you move it somewhere and you decide that's not where you want it, while you're still moving, just right click and it bounces right back. Now we need to parent the aileron, or we need to parent the wing to the fuselage. So right click on the wing, hold shift, right click the fuselage, Control P, make parent. Now the wing is parented to the fuselage. So if we grab the fuselage and move it around, we're all good. Alright, I think that kind of gives you guys an idea for the workflow of creating a rough layout. So we created a fuselage, we used some loop cuts, and we used some scaling, and then we used some grabbing to move things around to give us a nice little profile fuselage. We created a wing, we created an aileron, we named the objects, and we parented the objects, and I think that's pretty good for right now. So let me sit down and kind of look at this model, and then I'll decide where I'm going to go in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.